No, don't do it. Coving on the table saw. It's like a half round in a piece of wood, gouged in with the table saw blade. No, children, do not do this at home. Well, if you are hell-bent to cove on the table saw, I'm not suggesting that you do. Let me just get that straight, because it's blue dangerous. And I've shared videos on this channel, might link to them down below, that, how to put it, demonstrate how dangerous it can be. People are flipping stupid, you see. Now, you need 2 fences, for which I've got here. We've got our, well, effectively it's going to be our jig. And I've got it fixed to my table saw. Alright, we've got this piece of chipboard. Yeah, just grab a bit of chipboard I had. I've got one of my screws that come from my miter gauge that goes on my sliding table. And what I've done is I've put a hole in the board, lined it all up there. And also I've put a little bit of wood so it fits in the slot. So it shouldn't move. Especially when I get that back in, it shouldn't move at all. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut a slot. Where's it gone? Down there somewhere. It is. First of all, we're going to cut a slot in this piece of chipboard. Do you know what? The story of my life, this is. I can never get the tool in the hole. Yeah, that's what she said. There you go. Okay, I've got my tool in the hole. I've got my screw in the hole. There you have. There you go. Oh, that feels good, that do. Yes. We're going to first cut our slot, for which the protrusion of the table saw blade is going to pop out of. Right, there we go. Let's turn the machine on. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm now raising the table saw blade. Make sure you've got specs on, because when it pokes through the top, bits fly in your eyes. There it goes. There it goes. Oh, it's going to be there in a minute. Oh, lovely. Oh, there it is. There she blows. Oh, look at that. I'm not going to poke all the way through yet, but at least I know where the blade is and where the centre of the blade is. All right. I want to put a cove in this piece of wood. All right. We have to do it in stages. Now, the thing about coving, effectively what you're going to be doing is going sideways, sort of diagonal against the blade. Well, the blade is not designed, the machine's not designed to cut diagonally. No. It's designed to cut in line with the blade. That's one reason. First reason why it's a bad idea. Was it the second reason? Because the first reason really is because it's blue and dangerous. Especially the videos that I showed you. Now, I'll explain it a minute. So what we've got to first do is decide on how big our cove is going to be. We've got to decide on how deep it's going to be, all right, and how wide it's going to be. Now, I'm going to go for about, I'm looking at it, so you could use, let's say a bevel gauge, just get one, get a bevel, just to make it easier. Just for demonstration purposes, you know, until you've got yourself set up, you've got your jigs all set up and you've done a bit of trial and error, it's not that easy to work out. But let's say, for instance, all right, we want, against the blade there, like so, that's going to be too much, isn't it? So it's going to have to come, angle, back on itself, like that, and I can mark that, and I've got a fairly good indication of where that cove is going to be. You've got to think about your starting point and the exit point. So first of all, you've got to decide on how deep your cove is going to be. That might be a good idea. I ain't done this for ages, I'll be absolutely honest. And it's not the sort of thing I tend to do. But because it's blooming dangerous. Right, I'm going to set the depth of my cove first. That's my first priority. Now, if you go too deep, okay, when you put a cove in a piece of wood, like they were in the previous video that I showed you, they were literally going that close to the top of the piece of wood. That's lethal. Right, and the reason why it's lethal, there's no strength here. Okay, so if you and also they had one fence, so literally they're running along one piece of wood. Now the problem here is, you see, they were putting their hands on the top like that without using any push pads or anything. You see, they use the hand. So effectively, at some point, your hand is directly above the sharp thing. That'll cut you. Yeah, but if you use 2 fences like so. If it does collapse because it's too thin at that point and you're pushing down on top of the blade, if the sides can't push out, the middle, provided it doesn't split, shouldn't collapse onto the blade, you see, because it's got nowhere to go. It's a bit extra stability. Plus, also, it'd be more accurate because you're going to get less judder as you're trying to push it through the table saw blade. Like I say, I don't recommend anyone trying this at home, no. So we've got, first of all, decide how deep we want our cut. Now, this board here is probably about 26 millimeters thick. So let's go, I don't know, let's do a cove at approximately, just be on the safer side. I don't go any deeper than that. Let's do 18 mil. We're going to do an 18 millimeter cove. This is where it gets a bit awkward. Is that 18 mil yet? I'm just trying not to make the slot too big, you see. Is it 18? Yes, it is. That was luck. More luck than judgment, I would say. So now, that's how deep our actual cove is going to be, all right? So that's how it's going to be running over the top of that at an angle, all right? Stupid idea. It's actually a stupid idea. People who do this are off the flipping rocker, they are. Now, to centralise it, depending on, if you want to centralise it, either you've got to think about where the middle of the actual blade is, or you can work out from hair to hair and then split the difference either side of the board. So it's up to you what way you do it. Let's just use real and centralise it that way. Do it both ways, I suppose. Like so on the cut. So it's 5, so 60. There is the middle. And you can use that as you can eye that up basically to the middle of your board, which is here. I'm going to keep saying this and I'll say it again. I'm not suggesting you do this. No. Eye up parallel there, roughly there. That's going to be pretty much the middle is there. Alright. So now I want to make sure it's parallel with that, which is not yet. I say parallel with this line here. Alright. There's better ways of doing this, obviously. I just wanted to demonstrate coving on the table saw and kind of also demonstrate how dangerous it is, because it's stupid. But I'm still showing you, even though it's stupid, alright? Because if I start, like I said, saw blades are not designed to cut in that fashion, and nor are table saws. Make sure that one's in line with, yep, there. What you got to make sure is that when you put the second fence on, that both sides of that fence, all right, so line up where the screws are on one side, because it will move, you see. So do one side first, one end first, like so. You don't want to pinch the wood, because you want that to slide through, all right? You could put a bit of wax on it, actually. Do the same on this end, so bring it to it. All right, just enough so it can freely move. You don't want too tight, because you want to pinch it, you see, all right? Like so, that's good. Tight there. That's better. Right, you need a bit of free movement. So you don't want that catching. Right, that's good. Alright, we're there, I think. A little bit on the loose side there. Actually, the sides just tap that up. That's better. I'm going to put a bit of... I just dropped the tool on my foot and I'm wearing Crocs. Do not wear Crocs in the workshop. No. Not a good idea. Health and safety tip. Tip 1. Do not do this on the table saw. Coving, that is. Because it is dangerous. Alright? Now, you can't do this in one hit. You can't say, oh, I'm going to go for it all in one go. Like, oh, yeah. With the blade up. No. We need the blade down. Alright? So, we'll bring it down to about that. Just about showing. Yeah, just winking at us it is. Yeah, winking at us. Now, I suggest you use some form of push stick. These work well, okay? As it's very simple. You know, you don't need someone to give you plans how to make something like that. It's so blooming obvious. You know, if you can't work out how to make that, you shouldn't be doing woodworking, okay? Anyway, so what are we going to do? We're going to be running this through that blade, okay? Hopefully, it's not going to pinch in the middle. No, that's good. All right. So you have to do it a little bit at a time because it's unnatural for the blade to cut it. All right. This, I think it's probably the safest way of actually doing it. That's my feeling anyway. It's still dangerous though. I think it's stupid. Here we go. Wish me luck. Hail Marys and all that. Right, so more handing on the wood, is it? No? So we're going to push that now through the blade. Right, I'm going to show you something because it's like magic. All right, before we do the next stage. As a way of doing a cove, it does work surprisingly well. To be fair, a shallow cove like this, I'm not saying you're all reason why you shouldn't do it, providing you're using the two fences and it's a sensible arrangement. Because that actually works quite nicely if you want to create a cove. Yes, you could do it on the router, but a big router bit to create a cove of that size is flipping heavy work, plus you'll get a lot of burns in it. So, do you know what? All of a sudden, I'm saying, oh, it's a good idea, aren't I? There is a slight ridge down the middle, very slight. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably where the teeth kind of converge on the cut. Yeah, just a very, very slight little ridge. We can sand that out, but it looks quite neat. Anyway, we're going to go a bit deeper. Now, can you see the problem now? That when you do go deeper, this hair is going to get thinner at the top. Well, I said I was going to do 18 mil. So let's see how good it looks 18 mil. And it all depends on the depth to the width, the radius or the diameter of your radius, your cove. All depends on how high the blade is, obviously, but also the angle of attack. And you have to work that out for yourself. It's trial and error. There's because you're not supposed to do this. This is dangerous, right? I'm still doing it. We're going to go a bit deeper. Another pass. That one or that one? It's a different one. I prefer this, actually. Now what you'll notice is it will become, the deeper you go, and if you don't get the angle correct, if you're going deeper, sometimes you might need to make if you're going deeper, you might need to change the angle, because what will happen is become more elliptical. Let me show you again. But now, and I don't think you can see that, whereas the first cove was more like a circle. The second pass of this cove is starting to look a little bit elliptical. The shape is changing. A lot of that depends on the angle of the actual attack to the depth of cut you're trying to do. So you have to work it out to suit. And like I say, you're not supposed to do this on a table saw. How many times am I going to say that? Just a few. So I'll do it again. Another pass, because I did say 18 millimetres, didn't I? A bit deeper this time. Is that 18 mil yet? Let's have a look. Not quite there yet. The other thing, make sure you're doing exactly the same each time as well. Got the direction. I hope that's the right direction. Put an arrow on it, see that the direction's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Right? That way you'll know. Otherwise, if that's not 100% central, when you turn it around the other way, it might alter it a little bit. It might be good for you, I don't know, it might be what you want to do. You have to go slow. Get my 18 millimetres because you see the cove, the shape. That might be what you want, but it's not perfect elliptical, is it? Perfectly circular as a cove should be. It has this turning into more of an ellipse. It's a different shape. The shallow one, it seems pretty uniform, but as soon as I start engaging the width, the girth, No, yeah. If you've got a flaw in your wood here as well, let's say for instance a bit of a shrinkage crack going on in the back in the timber, that becomes even more dangerous. Last pass. Let's have a look. Let's see if we get a bit deeper. See what shape we get. How deep can we go even? That's the other question. Let's get 18 mil thereabouts. Make sure you point it in the same direction each time. Oh, I've gone too far at once. That's my belt slipping. That's it. Pad. Now the reason I've swapped over this time from this push stick is because it has this piece at the end, and I didn't want half round in it. Hence, I was using that one, which is my commercial sort of push stick, but it has these little screws that I put in it, so it helps grip the wood. Obviously, if you're doing your fine work, you don't want to do that. You can retract the screws for that purpose. But let's have a look. There we go. A little bit deeper still. It's uniform on both sides. You can say that about it, but the shape is no longer cove. You know, but if you're creating little gutters, or for a chicken hut or something like that, chicken hut, a coop, or you want run marbles down, I'll give it a say. Well, then that'll be absolutely fine for that job. So, do I recommend anyone do it? No, because it's dangerous. It is dangerous. I don't think I made it look too dangerous. But when I've seen people do this and they're making silly mistakes, and they're effectively making it dangerous. The key thing is to make sure that obviously you're not just pushing it through with your hands like so. Just don't do that. Because especially if you haven't got two fences, because there's nothing we have to do is have the two fences, not one. Because if that gets too thin at that point there, that potentially will split down the middle while you're running it through the saw, and then your hands are on top, aren't they? Ow. Blood. Gore, snuff, and all that. So make sure you got the two fences. If you are hell bent on doing it, like I said, I'm not suggesting you do. If you're hell bent on doing it, also make sure you're using some kind of push stick where you haven't got contact with the wood with your hands. You're just using the push stick, okay, to run that through outside, right? But it does work. Yeah, but you have to also bear in mind if you try and take too much off at a time, you put an excessive sideways force on your blade. It's not designed to cut that way, you see. Whereas if you just take a little bit off, an eighth of an inch, 3 or 4 mil at a time, the blade can cope. Basically, as long as it's the tooth. Make sure the tooth is actually doing the work higher up. The other thing is if you take too much of it at a time, it won't even work. You won't even make a cut. Because what will happen is you'll basically have no curve. Because as you're trying to push it through that way, the side of the actual blade itself will stop you. There'll be no cut there. There'll be no space for it. So effectively, you won't be able to cut. So you have to make sure that you only take a small amount off at a time, no more than the actual tooth depth of the tooth of your blade. So pass over the saw blade, like I just showed you. Little nibbles, one at a time, and then you too can produce some sort of weird cove shape, yeah? It does change depending on the angle of your wood, also the depth of the blade, and how wide you want that cove. That it does. So there you go. That's how you can cove on a table saw. Is it safe? No, it's not. Did it look, was I weary of it? No, and I ain't done this probably for about, 10, 12 years. I just thought I'd show you because I've been sharing some videos about it. Toodaloo. Have a lovely day. And maybe put the old like button and maybe subscribe to the channel because I knew you get a warm fuzzy feeling in the pocket. Yes, all thing, but every time I upload another video. Toodaloo. Comment down below. Have you tried coving on the table saw?